All right. Let's go here. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachab, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And this is a video that is going to be addressing a comment that was left on this video that I did yesterday. Here comes the UBI, in which I went into this I think it was yesterday or the day before, but I went into this article that I found on Zero Hedge, basically dealing with what the one U.S. city is rolling out, calling the guaranteed basic income, which is like a test run of a version of the UBI. Now, there was a comment that was left by B. Pamela, which says, "Thank you very much. Please, I wish to ask, is universal health care coverage platform in the same line with this UBI? Everyone in my organization where I work was asked to register and get a card 2 days ago. I was skeptical about it and did not. I was still trying to figure out, or Slack it, still trying to find out about it. Thanks so much for this video." So I responded, I said I'd just do a lesson on it because originally I was just going to answer directly on the comment board, but I thought about this can actually bring more edification because this kind of also falls under a somewhat broader topic or subject. All right, which is why I titled the video what I did. At what point do we disconnect from this system? So yeah, I basically said I'd do a response, so that's why I'm doing this lesson here. Now, remember the elder apostle Tahar did a video not too long ago, maybe last week or the week before, where he was dealing with, he was addressing the use of a digital currency, right? Like a CBDC or, some form of a digital currency, as we see the system is shifting towards that. All right, we're getting to the point where through gradualism, they're going to start phasing out the use of cash and the normal forms of payment, which eventually they start with opting in. You can either do what you do now or opt into this new version, but you have some banking partners that are doing it and sort of like defaulting it for their users or their clients or customers. But being that these devils move gradually and they move, they do things in gradualism, it could be that they could introduce the CHIP right with the CBDC together, or they could also introduce the like shift onto the digital currency, more than likely using your phone, some app or some account on your phone, and just going that way, and then eventually introducing the actual charagma as the new step, the next step. Okay, so in which he mentioned that, say they come out with the CBDC or they move towards that, but they haven't brought the CHIP yet, or you're not forced to take the CHIP yet, you're still going to have to deal with the CBDC, or a digital currency. If ultimately in this society they shift everything towards that, and you're not at the point where they're saying you got to take the CHIP, you still gonna have to deal with it, right? Because how are you gonna, if you work, how are you gonna get paid? If they say that, it's like when they said, when companies started saying they're not gonna write checks anymore, you have to have direct deposit. So eventually it'll get to that point, and that's when you have to use wisdom. All right, because here it is. If the scriptures say that we're not to take the MOTB, the actual charagma itself. All right. And when it gets to that point, I guess then that answers the question of the title. At what point do we disconnect from the system? Now, I don't mean in the sense of Micah 2 and 10. At that point, you do it right away. The second you come into this knowledge, that's basically the process you enter, which is mentally, disconnecting from the system. But I mean disconnect in the sense that you don't deal with the system at all. Okay, and that's pretty much going to be when they push that C hip and they actually say you gotta take this charagma, or else you can't do X, Y, and Z. At that point, you say, all right, well, I guess then that's it. But if they bring out a CBDC or some digital currency, or they switch payment methods or whatever the case is, and they haven't attached a C hip to it, there's no mandate, there's nothing like that. You still gonna have to deal with it. All right, you still gonna have to utilize it, because if you don't, then what? The scriptures talk about being over much righteous lest you destroy yourself, because now you say, oh well, they maybe they brought out this digital currency, and my job says that I have to create an account, and else they're not gonna pay. Like, they can't pay me unless it's coming through that. And you say, well, I'm not gonna do it, and I ain't budget, and so you don't get paid. So maybe your pay has been backdated for it's been held back whatever for like weeks now, because you don't have this new form of this app that they said to get right now. You can't pay bills, you're about to get evicted, whatever the case is. That's just you not using wisdom. All right, because at that point, remember, the scriptures say that those that take the MOTB are going to be destroyed. And the hour of temptation is not when they tell you gotta use the CBDC. The hour of temptation is when they tell you gotta take the C hip. You gotta put that micro C hip in your body and utilize it. And that point is gonna come, but you have to be wise as serpents. You have to use the world as not abusing it, because we're still in this world. Though we're not of it, we're still in this world. So we still have to move. We still have to work. We still have to eat. We still have to pay bills. We still have to do these things. Right? And the Lord always provides a way. So now coming down to this question, originally I hadn't even heard of this the universal health coverage. So I looked it up. I looked into a few things concerning that. Wow, shalom, shalom. Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatham to you all. And it's definitely one of those points that it's important to go into, because as we get closer and closer to the fulfillment of these prophecies, we're going to need to get more detailed, in terms of and talk more about it and go more in depth when it comes to not only what the prophecies are, but how do you deal with them. The scriptures say this. Okay, how do you deal with this? How do I maneuver in this world, in this maze of deception, keeping in mind Revelation 13, or keeping in mind what the scriptures say about X, Y, and Z. Okay, that's all important. So, like I said, I looked it up, and this is just a wallpaper I got on it, just so I can use it as a thumbnail. But when you just pull it up here, it's tied. I believe it's tied to the World Health, the question mark. I almost slipped up there. All right, and here, just real quick, it says universal health care is a healthcare system in which all residents of a particular country or region are assured access to healthcare. Now, like I said, I hadn't heard of this. I don't know what the core details of it are, but to answer your question, whether you should, apply for it or not, that's really up to you. I can't tell you, hey, yes, go do it. No, but what I can tell you is keep in mind, pray to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and keep in mind, okay, if you need it, if you're in a position where you're like, okay, I need this, and you've looked into it and you feel that, okay, this isn't, something that's like some wild shit, but I can use it to my advantage, then hey, you can go ahead. That's on you, right? But it is I would say that it is somewhat related to this whole UBI system, right? When they move to this universal basic situation. But the whole goal when they move towards that avenue is to basically get people accustomed to a certain style of living. They're basically trying to disconnect you from the I guess, the capitalistic way of living into more of a socialist way, a more of a everybody's on the same level playing field, and you have one supplier. Everything is centralized, right? You have one supplier, and everybody gets, X, Y, and Z. But if you're at the point where you do it at your own discretion, right? If you look into it and you do the research and you say, okay, this isn't like some some underhanded slick joint over here, and I can use this, or I need this, and it can help me, then hey, you pray to the Lord and you do what you got to do. Okay, you pray to the Lord and do what you got to do. Look, if they came out tomorrow and they said, look, it's almost like unemployment, for example, right? If they came out tomorrow and said, hey, we offering a form of basic income, and if anybody that lost their job, we're just gonna throw the money in your account. People are gonna do that. People are gonna take that. Like when they started giving out them stimulus checks, I'm sure there were certain brothers that received checks. Some maybe didn't, some maybe did. But hey, if they sent it to you, you could utilize it. Well, I mean, they did turn around at some point, and I think they started recalling a certain amount from certain individuals or so. But the case is, leading into this precept here, 1 Corinthians 7:31, it says, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. So matter of fact, let me see. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm going to start up at the 29th verse, but I first want to look into the word abuseth and see what does it say here in the Greek. So we have kata rao mahi. Kata rao mahi. What's that? Strong's G 2710. That's how the guy says it. But so it says here, to use much or excessively. There you go, right? To use much or excessively or ill. To use fully. Let's see. Okay, they don't have anything else in here. So, but right, to overuse or to misuse. So this pretty much gives us the information we need, right? When you're dealing with this world, the Apostle Paul here is not saying don't use it at all. You have to use it. Okay, you have to use it. You can't just say, I'm gonna just run up into the mountain somewhere and just try to. You're gonna screw yourself over. You're in this world. You have to use this world, but don't abuse it. Don't overuse it. Don't get caught up into it. So, for example, right, you may have a job that gets you your daily bread. It helps you get by. That is a form of using the world. But you have some individuals that make their whole mindset that I want to make, like, my whole mindset is I want to make the most money. I want to be rich. I want to be something in this world. Then you're abusing it. Because now, say there's a job that you can get that you can do X, Y, and Z that you know how to do, and you can hold it down. But you're saying, I'm now going to invest more time and get more consumed up into this because it's going to give me whatever X, Y, and Z. And then at the cost of me not reading enough or going out to the highways and byways or doing these lessons, then that's going to work against you. Because like the Apostle Paul said, for the fashion of this world passeth away. So you put in all that work and you neglect the true work that needs to be done. So you can put in all this extra work, and guess what? It's all going to pass away. It's not permanent. But let me jump up to the 29th verse. But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none, and they that weep as though they wept not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that buy as though they possess not. Because technically, right, say maybe you buy a house. Yeah, it's yours, but how long is it really going to be in your possession? Because once this place gets destroyed, that house is gone. And it's no longer in your possession. So it's technically like you don't really own it. It's just temporary. And they that use this world as not abusing it. So you have to, there are times when you have to use the world. So you may have to, whatever it is, if it's, for example, they have unemployment or they have certain benefits programs that you can utilize. If that helps you, then you can utilize it, but don't abuse it. So don't overindulge. Use what you need to get you by, and go and do what you got to do, because the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai understands what situation we're in and what predicament we're in. Now, it doesn't mean go and become a drug dealer. but you move accordingly using wisdom in your day-to-day life. Okay, but at the end of the day, will to the best of our ability answer your questions, but the best we can really do is give you scriptural context and give you the information that you need for you to make a decision and say, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. All right. So there's a little a balance in between there, where we're not going to give you life advice, but if you do have a certain question, we'll give you scriptural precepts, maybe certain accounts that may be similar, things that you can look at and say, oh, okay, from this, I think I have enough information to know what I should do. But it all really starts with prayer. So coming back to the comment that was asked here, I do think that it's somewhat related, like in line with the whole concept of like a UBI and like a universal health coverage and so on and so forth. And you being skeptical about it, that's good. That means that you think it, right? You're not just jumping into things. But if you have to weigh it out, you're the one facing it, you're the one experiencing it, so you have to weigh it out, find out as much as you can about it, and see, if it's something that you feel that you need, cool. If it's not, then cool. You go ahead, but remember that the Lord has a spirit of protection. He has the holy angels around us. So whatever situation we end up in, he will always deliver us. As a matter of fact, let's get real quick the book of Romans, chapter 8. And there's a beautiful precept in here, Romans 8 and is it 28? Right. Romans 8 and 28, it says, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. So all things work together for good. So at the end of the day, if you're one of the Lord's elect, you a believer, guess what? Everything will work. It'll all work out. All right. In other, for, putting in other terms, it'll all work out to your benefit, at the end of it all, because the Lord controls it, so go on that. But the reason I wanted to do a lesson on it is because it goes beyond just like maybe this specific case of like universal health coverage, right? Now we're getting to the point where people are going to start getting curious, saying, hey, my job introduced this new form of this, or hey, my job started dealing with crypto, or hey, my job started talking about a gold backed digital this, or hey, I live in this country and I believe in what you guys are saying, but over here they're saying that we can't use cash anymore and we got to start using the CBDC, or else we're going to be, whatever the case is. What do I do? Hey, my job is saying I got 2 weeks to sign up for this new digital way of receiving this. Do I do it or do I not? I know the Bible said these kinds of questions are going to come more and more as we get to that point of this prophecy being fulfilled, and as us living in this world, and as us being teachers and men and prophets, this is why it's very important to understand these prophecies, so when people ask these kinds of questions, because it's not even just them, but us as well, right? We practice what we preach. So you need to know, okay, I fully understand what this prophecy is. What does it mean? So I know how to operate and how to maneuver and how to move, in the times that we are in. That's very, very important. And this is why it is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 33, verse 6. This is why this is written, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Because when people don't know what to do or they can't make a decision, they become very unstable. It becomes their mind becomes very stressed because they don't know what decision to do. That's when they start ripping their hair. I don't know what to do. I'm stressed, right? Because they're lacking the wisdom and knowledge, not just any wisdom, but the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, which comes from the fear of the Lord, right? Having that proper knowledge and understanding and applying it, right? It says, and strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord is his treasure. So we're going to know what to do and how to maneuver. But if it gets to the point, if you look at it and they say, all right, you gotta, we just had I don't know, we just switched banking partners or whatever. And the new banking partner we're dealing with is part of this pilot program. And they're saying that every transaction we make has to be done via this new app. It's going to be like this digital currency kind of situation, and that's how we're going to start paying. if they tell you something like that, and you're like, okay, I need my job so I can make my daily bread and do what I got to do. Let me don't just jump at the second you heard digital, all right, time to quit. I'm just going, okay, you quit, and then what? Now you sit at home, and then what? And then you wait for 1 week to pass, 2 weeks to pass, and you haven't heard any mention of a CHIP. Now you're sitting there without a job thinking, damn, that was a pretty good job. It did have some pretty good benefits. Ah, shit. And then maybe you eventually end up using this digital whatever it is anyway through your phone or whatever. And now you like, I lost this job, I had to struggle and whatnot, and now I got another job. It's not as good, but I still got to use the same method anyway, right? So you gotta think, okay, what are they saying here? Okay, what is what let me find out everything I can find out about this. All right, cool. This is okay, cool. Is this mandatory? Because remember, they move in phases, right? So even if they introduce something new, there's likely a way you can opt out of it and you try the best you can. But if they say no, everybody gotta do it, as long as you ain't taking that CHIP, okay, let me see how this works. Just keep in mind that at some point we will be faced with this Revelation, the 3rd chapter. And this is where the Lord said, Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Now, you have to keep in mind, you got to keep in mind that the Lord can do this in many ways. This can manifest in many, 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 many ways, right? So the Lord can, have it through some miracle. He can have, I don't know, an angel bring you food. He can do all that. But one other example is the Lord can just put it into your mind how to maneuver in the system up until you cannot maneuver anymore, and you have to, you're directly hit, and they're like, look, you're gonna need to take this, or there's no other alternative. You can't sneak your way by anymore. At that point, guess what? It is what it is. You ain't taking it. It doesn't matter if they're gonna chop you your head or whatever it is. You ain't taking it. But the Lord can have many ways to keep you. He may have you get transferred to another part of your job or somewhere that you can keep working without having, whatever it is. But another example of being kept is that the Lord can put it into your mind to properly maneuver in this system, to where you're not doing too much, you're not being over much righteous, but you're also being cautious with what you're getting involved in. But keep that in mind, that we are coming to that point. These are questions and things that we're going to have to be faced with and think about. But don't be too hasty to the point where you make a decision that's detrimental to you or your well-being, or your loved ones. You got to think about all these things. We know what we cannot do, which is to take that MOTB at all costs. But if they haven't introduced that, or they haven't put that before you and said, hey, you don't have any other option, you got to take this MOTB, then you got to use wisdom, right? This is the book of Ecclesiastes 7 and 12. It says, for wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. See? So wisdom is a defense, and knowledge is a defense. And money is a defense. Meaning, you going in this world, you're gonna need money. You're gonna need, if you don't work, you don't eat. Right? If you don't get a job, you can't pay bills. If you don't pay bills, you can't have a place to stay or whatever it is. So these are both a defense, and you can use them. Wisdom you always got to use, but you use them appropriately and accordingly. This is the book of Psalms 97 and 10. It says, ye that love the Lord hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivereth them out of the hand of the wicked. So Esau is going to try to set up all these snares and so on and so forth. But guess what? The Lord delivereth the elect out of the hand of the wicked, and he preserveth the souls of his saints. So that means it doesn't matter how crazy it looks or how crazy or how bad it gets, the Lord will always make a way. No matter how narrow it is, he'll always make a way that we can escape. All right. Try religious exemption. I tried it. It may work. It may not work. I can only try. Yeah. Try it. Before you jump out and say, I'm done, throw your hands up in the air. guess what? Exhaust all your options. Exhaust all your options, because you don't want to be in a position where you think, oh, this is it, and then you find out maybe you're still here and it ain't it, but you've done some damage, and now it's hard for you. So you gotta use wisdom in that sense, man. But hopefully this answered the, well, I guess addressed the point here. Like I said, you look into it, and you see, okay, it's not the MOTB. It may be along the same lines of the UBI, but if you can use it to your benefit and not, cross over the line or do something crazy or have to consent to something super wild, very look out for those things that require you to like consent to some wild crazy stuff. Those things you got to look out for. But if you read it and you're like, okay, this is, I mean, I don't really see anything crazy in here. I pray to the Lord. I really think that this may help me or make it easier for me. Then, hey, you do what you got to do. Okay. But on the higher level, we're going to be faced with these kinds of situations where you got to think, and not just the fact that you heard CBDC or you heard digital, you jumped at the, then, you just threw your badge on the floor and left there and said, I'm out of here. That's the MOTB. And then you come to find out it's been another 6 months and they still ain't made it mandatory, and then people are still walking about fine. You may, hey, look, one hypothetical example is you may hear something like this and quit your job and then come and watch a video and then hear maybe an apostle or brother, somebody doing a video saying, oh, they introduced this, that, and that, but it's not the MOTB, so you can still, it's kind of like having a regular debit card or a credit card, but just with this, that, and maybe you may hear somebody, I use this. Then you're going to start scratching your head like, oh shit, damn, I may have jumped the gun a little bit. Well, now you gotta deal with it, work your way back up. But the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai means what he said in Revelation 3:10, that he will keep his elect. So no matter what the situation is, if you're of the elect, you're not going to take it. All right? You're not going to take it. Yeah, exactly. Just like the juice. Yep, that's right, brother. Just like the juice. And guess what? We still here and we didn't take the juice. The Lord still held us down. Gave us ways out. Brothers went for exemptions and whatever it was, but the Lord delivered us. And we didn't have to take the juice. See? So, hey, some brothers might have stayed at the same location. Now, you may have anticipated that they may have said, yo, if you don't get this, you're going to be fired. And then here it is, maybe there's a policy in place, but you're still here working and you're not fired, and whatever the case is. So the Lord always delivers, but that's why the scriptures say, make not haste in time of trouble, and cleave to the Lord. Right? And what does that say? That thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Go not aside lest thou fall. So you don't want to do that. Let's see what we got here. Yep, this is Matazah Lacham 144 Gah, Psalms 94:15. But judgment shall return unto righteousness, and all the upright in heart shall follow it. That's right, beautiful precept. That is correct. Let's see what we got here. Yep. GMS Virgin Island Straight Gate, Baruch 4:4. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to God are made known unto us. Yeah. And we are happy because when you do the things that are pleasing to the Lord, guess what? The Lord takes care of you. So the Lord is going to put it into our minds what to do, what decisions to make, what decisions to make, when you need to make them. But the Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai he's going to guide us through it all. So as things come and, the squeeze gets tighter and tighter, the Lord is still going to make breathing room for his elect. So not to worry, not to worry. But yeah, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, in closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.